Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense, where we make some sense out of nonsense. We're in the book of Judges. Now, that doesn't mean that it's nonsense. Somebody's going to say something, or somebody's already turned off, so he's saying that the Bible's nonsense. It's not what I'm saying. Most of the time, I'm making sense out of the nonsense that I make, and I hope it works. Right? That somehow you get something out of this. So we're in the story in Judges chapter 7 of Gideon, and we've been working backwards, right? The victory happened a couple nights ago. Last night I asked you, are you giving the enemy an escape route? Are you totally encircling him? Part of the story from last night was this idea of a torch, a trumpet, and a glass jar. A jar, right? Again, wasn't probably glass, right? It's probably ceramic, right? But those three things, that's what Gideon was told by God. That those are the provisions, right? That's what God's going to use to win this victory. Why would God give those things to a warrior, to warriors, 300 warriors, and say, go fight the enemy with those things? So I want you to stop right there, and I want you to chew on this tonight. I want you to think about what God has placed in your hand. And are those the very things that he wants you to use for victory? So we always think we have to get more things in our hands. We got to go to lawyers. We got to get blackmail material. We got to get evidence. We got to get this. We got to have a sword. We got to have all these things. But what if God means what he says when he says to Moses, hey, what's in your hand? Moses had a staff, a rod. Take that. That's what you're going to use. And throughout Moses' entire leadership, he used his staff. Held it up for victory, right? Parted a Red Sea, right? Hit a rock, got water, did a whole bunch of things with what was in his hand. So I want you to think about right now, what has God placed in your hand? What is your torch? Right? What lights up the path? God has given you something that's going to illuminate, going to light up your path. Right? Might be just one step at a time, 1 foot at a time, 1 inch at a time, right? But it's going to light it up so that you can see it. God's given you something. Right? Most certainly it's the Word of God. Also prayer. But what are the things that God has given you that just get you going 1 step at a time? What is the jar? What's the jar in your hand? Right? Jars represent we pour stuff in. Right? We keep stuff in. That which God has given us. What do you have to pour out? We know that the widow in Elisha and Elijah didn't have very much. Right? In Elijah's case, didn't have very much at all. And then God gave her because she gave her little. So use what you have. What is in your jar? And might God break it? Might God say, I'm going to take it all. I'm going to use everything that you got, the strength that you have, right? The faith that you have, what you have. I'm going to use that in this moment. I'm going to light your way, the little bit of faith that you have, or the whole bunch of faith that you have. That's going to go into the battle, right? And then a trumpet. The trumpet calls upon the name of the Lord. The trumpet is declaring that God is going to do something, right? Are you blowing the trumpet? Are you declaring with your mouth that God is going to do something in this case? I know that my resources look kind of goofy. This situation looks kind of weird. But God is going to do something in it. God is going to do something with it. God is going to work. Are you declaring it? Or are you constantly declaring that, hey, I think the battle, I don't know that we can win this one. I don't know. We're not going to make it happen, right? What is in your hand? What are the tools that God has given you that he wants you to fight this battle with? Do you know sometimes it's going to be a plate of cookies. Sometimes it's going to be a card. Sometimes it's going to be buying somebody some gas or dinner. Sometimes it's going to be an encouragement, a word. Sometimes it's going to be another resource that you have. Sometimes it's going to be, I don't have anything in my hands. God said, that's exactly what I want you to use. Right? What is it that is in your hands that God is going to give the victory for? We already saw the victory. So look back at some of the victories that you've had in life. What did God give you to work with? Do you remember being on and feeling like you didn't have enough? Do you remember feeling like, hey, God, this is insufficient. I need more money. I need more this. I need more of that. What did you have in those moments? That's important because as we walk this backwards, then the next time that we're going forward with it, we can go, yeah, whatever's in my hand, that's what God's going to use. I use my phone. He used my lack of phone. He used my car ride. He used whatever it is, right? God's going to use that. So what's in your hand right now that might get you to the victory? But where have you been? What have you seen? Chew on those things for a little bit. We'll come back next time right here, Nightly Nonsense.